Hello and welcome to another YouTube exclusive of the Smash Accept podcast. I'm your host, Michael Royer. You can find me on Twitter at Dynasty Dad FF. We got a great show. We're super excited because it's Wednesday. That means it's time for Mock Draft Wednesday. We have a special mock draft here from Marco Enriquez. He works for Pro Football Network in this particular article, and you can find him on Twitter at Marco_NFL. Make sure you guys give him a follow. We are trying to bring you different angles of mock drafts. And the idea of the mock draft is really just to look at what are we at this point in the season, right? We're trying to look at different landing spots. We're trying to look at different draft angles. And this one's chock full of really interesting spots, like Travion Henderson to the Commanders in round one. You know, we see 3 running backs go round one. I'm super excited to kind of start this draft board in a couple of minutes. But Snoog, we see 12 guys go round one. And everybody keeps saying this class is weak. But you see 3 quarterbacks go round one. You see 3 running backs, 12 overall. That is a crazy amount of talent to be drafted in round one of the NFL.
Yeah, this would be an absolute fantasy goldmine if this happens. I mean, it's everything you could ask for. 3 first-round running backs, a bunch of tight ends, quarterbacks, and wide receivers going in round one. I don't think we're going to get this crazy with how many players go, but I actually do think we get a second first-round running back, and I do think that if you count Travis Hunter as a wide receiver, I think 4 wide receivers at least go in round one, including Emeka Ibuka, Travis Hunter, Ted McMillan, and I think Matthew Golden. And I do think Luther can sneak in as well as that 5th guy. But I think that people aren't expecting this many guys to go, but like things are changing. Wide receiver, quarterback, those are premium positions. One of the top 5 premium positions you could draft and ask for. And they also take a bag when you try to pay your players in free agency or just after their rookie contract's up. So the more and more that stock starts rising, the more valuable these players get, and teams tend to reach on them, even if they shouldn't be a first-round pick. So I'm excited to jump into this, see how this goes. And there's some interesting spots and some fun landing spots that we're going to talk about here.
Yeah, and we like we do every single Wednesday. We are out here. We're going to draft with 10 other guys from the Discord. Our Discord right now, you can get into patreon.com/smashaccept, the fastest growing Dynasty Discord there is. We are honestly just totally loading up. Guys are joining at a rapid pace. Guys want to be involved in the community. You know, you guys are doing things that are a little bit different where we're really getting guys involved with these mock drafts and a few other things. We always say we do these things, rain, shine, snow, sickness, or health. I got a little bit of a cold going, but we're here for it, man. Let's talk a little bit about round one before we actually kick this off. So round one, they have Cam Ward going to the Browns, Shedeur Sanders going to the Giants at 3, Jackson Dart going 9 to the Saints. That's 3 quarterbacks off in the first 10 picks, Snoog. This instantly makes your Superflex draft change quite a bit. You know, you and I are still talking about we're pounding the drum for running backs, but this just makes it even better to get the running backs where we want them.
Yeah, we've been talking about Jackson Dart being a first-round pick for like 3 months now. I don't know if he's going to go this high, but I do think he's going to go in the top 25 picks, top 20-ish. I could see the Steelers taking him or a team like that in that range that just need a guy, right? They need a guy that has tools, that can be a guy, maybe be a high-end game manager type player. Jackson Dart has those tools. He makes himself a very intriguing pick. When it's all said and done, if he's a top 10 to 12 pick with how the landscape is and how many desperate QB needy teams there are in the top 12, I wouldn't be shocked. But you get your 3 first-round quarterbacks. Yes, this quarterback class is probably one of the worst ones we've seen since 2022. And before that, one of the worst ones since like 2019, 2018. But the good thing about it is it's 6-point, it's 12 team, it's super flex. They're going to bump up the boards. We're going to get the guys we want later, most likely. And not in all, but in a lot of them, because there are those super flex QB enthusiasts out there that take quarterbacks no matter what.
All right, let's break this down. So we're looking at our guys, and we're drafting here right off the bat. AJ Estevez goes Ashton Genty, number 1 overall. Snoog, we get the spot we want. Dallas
what
Cowboys.
A reach.
Either Cowboys or Bears. We know that was going to happen. We knew that was the first pick. Second pick, we got Coop going with Cam Ward. So Cam Ward to the Browns. Do you like this? I like it better than Tennessee, but I don't necessarily love it for Cam Ward. I would love to see the Giants move up. Cam Ward to the Giants gets me excited. Cam Ward to the Browns,
or the
middle
Raiders,
of the pack.
Yeah, Giants or Raiders. I think the Raiders are out of the picture now. I think they're kind of trying to be that like 1 to 2 to 3 year contender and just build the best roster they can with Geno. But I don't like taking Ward here this high with one of these flat landing spots, even though the draft capital, he is definitely the best quarterback in this class. I just don't think he's 102 worthy. I could see taking him 5 or 6 if he goes to the Titans or the Browns. I just, with where all these running backs and wide receivers go, I just think there's so many guys you can make a claim for over these guys, like this next guy that we're going to jump into. But
a lot of guys in the Discord are really asking. They're saying, "Dad, I really need a quarterback. We're looking at 103. Should I take Cam Ward?" And the answer is
best player available.
No. Take the best player available. And in this particular draft, Cascade nailed it. Travion Henderson to the Commanders at 29. This is through the roof. Like this is a landing spot we haven't even talked about, because he would go there. He would learn from Austin Eckler, who's a consummate pro, a guy that would really teach him the ropes. Brian Robinson would be, a 1B afterthought kind of guy. And I think you look at Travion Henderson, year 1 might be that, a lot. We've talked before where he's a Jahmyr Gibbs light, but by year 2, you're talking an absolute beast in this offense. And I think he would be unbelievable with the Commanders.
Yep. This next pick, I'm going to shock the world because we've been getting a ton of buzz lately. We've been hearing a lot of things that we want to hear because there's a lot of, you spoiled the pick there, right there. Let's go. Travis Hunter. I'm doing this for a reason, just for the show, just for explaining what this looks like and how this could work and work out in our favors to make him go top 4, top 3 in fantasy drafts. He gets drafted to the Patriots. They just brought in Carlton Davis on a massive contract to be their second cornerback starting. They have Christian Gonzalez, one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL. You draft Travis Hunter at the 4th pick after not addressing wide receiver position at all in free agency to be your wide receiver 1. You get Drake May, a superstar talent. This guy is absolutely phenomenal. Like one of the most athletic, gifted players I've ever watched on a football field. Crazy, spectacular catching ability. One of the best hands I've seen from a prospect coming out. A Garrett Wilson, an Odell Beckham Jr. He profiles similar to those type of guys. He's like he's an elite wide receiver prospect. He's not generational, but he's an elite wide receiver prospect. Him and Tet here going back to back, like it's pick your poison. I feel like I want Drake May's wide receiver 1, and I want to make the case for why I took him here. Everything I just said is why. Like it's that simple. The writing's on the wall right in front of you. If they do take him and they're like, we're going to play him at cornerback, we'll have that clarity. We won't take him this high. He's not going to go in the first round at that point. But if the Patriots take him and don't play him at full-time wide receiver, that franchise is an absolute disgrace, and they should fire everybody in their coaching staff again.
2 weeks ago, I posted, if the Patriots take him, after they went out, they got Gonzalez, they loaded up at the free agency, they beefed up the defense. I said he's the wide receiver 1 of the class. He's a borderline top 12 dynasty.
I think everybody's on board with
this. He's that good. And now we can get there. And then Tedoroy McMillan, he runs that 4.48, proves that he's got that speed, goes to the Panthers at 8. Snoog, if I'm getting Tedoroy and McMillan, who's 102 for us, the most of the process, at 105, I feel great. I don't love taking him at 102, I'm going to be honest, because I think there's a lot of running backs in this class, just like the guy that's just going to go next, that belong in that area. Marion Hampton at 106. This Travion Henderson landing spot and Travis Hunter landing spot has now created Tedoroy McMillan and Marion Hampton falling down in the draft. I like Marion Hampton to the Steelers. I don't love it. I would prefer, some of these other landing spots, but I think in the Najee Harris role, he would be phenomenal. Like he is a top 10 dynasty running back day 1. And if you're getting him at 1.6, congratulations.
This is what I'm saying. This goes to my, I'm not to bring it up again and start fire, but this goes to my Lad McConkey tweet right here. Something like this happens. You are not trading any of these Ashton Genty, Travion Henderson, Travis Hunter, Tet McMillan, or Marion Hamptons for Lad McConkey. Nobody's doing that. 2 running backs with first-round draft capital on rookie contracts. We've seen that success rate and that hit rate. That's ridiculous. And it's not even a knock on Lad McConkey, but that's what I'm just saying when I say hold draft capital till the NFL draft, because these picks have a chance to take off. And I honestly would just flop Cam Ward and kick him right there in front of Judkins, or probably after Judkins, And then that's probably, with what happened in this draft, that's probably what you get. You'd get Genty and the other 2 running backs, and then you get these 2 wide receivers. Then after that, it's going to be probably a mixture of like Judkins, and then
Well,
Tyler Warren goes to Denver and some of these other guys. But this is a great start for this class.
Judkins to the Chiefs at 63. Now, I don't think he falls that far, but I think this is great value.
39 of the Raiders.
This is, I think the Raiders are not taking a running back in this particular mock draft. And Marco is Enriquez is a super guy on Twitter, guy that you're going to want to follow, super sharp. And I love a lot of these landing spots because they're not consensus. I keep seeing the same landing spots for every single player. Consensus this, consensus that, and we're not changing it up here. Quinshon Judkins to the Chiefs. I still think he's the RB, in this scenario. He's the RB4 of the class. And then the next pick I absolutely love. I actually think that this is really close. Because now if you see Caleb Johnson going to the Broncos versus, in an offense where he's going to get dump offs, where he's going to, as a decent offensive line, he's going to be the guy right off the bat. Would you prefer Caleb Johnson or Quinshon Judkins in this particular situation?
I'm taking Judkins. I like him. He's the better player, in my opinion. He's more complete, more consistent, better profile. I would just lean that over Johnson here. You're getting so close. Like, you're at the point where it's like you can make the argument still for Judkins to be the second running back off the board, just going to the Chiefs, getting round 2 draft capital. But it's just a lot safer to rely on Hampton and Henderson, who got first round draft capital, 1, and 2. They have wide open running back rooms to thrive right away, right? Like, the Chiefs have always been weird with how they use players, like committees and stuff like that. You don't really know what's going to happen. If you take Amari and Hampton or Travion Henderson to be in a committee, you're getting fired as a head coach. Like, if they're not at least like 1Bs or starters, like, they're not playing 40% of snaps. They're playing majority.
The next pick from Grivas, awesome guy, Andrew Grivas, Tyler Warren to the Broncos at 20. We wanted this, but now Evan Ingram there. This is an interesting dynamic, right? Like, how do you see those two shaking out? Tyler Warren's more of the Joker role that Sean Payton has wanted. This is kind of where we really wanted it, and I'm like, but now with Evan Ingram there, I think this lowers his ceiling just a little bit.
Yeah, I think so too. I think I'm definitely taking Tyler Warren over Colson Loveland here, even though Loveland went above him. We'll talk about him when someone picks him shortly, but Warren's just, in my opinion, the better player, more complete, goes to a better landing spot. If someone takes Tyler Warren in the first round, I don't care who the tight end is there. Like, unless it's like George Kittle or someone nasty, but Evan Ingram, like, at that point, they're probably going to use Evan Ingram more in the slot and less at tight end, and use him more in like that type of role.
And Colson Loveland goes 14th here to the Colts, and he hasn't been picked yet.
I think him and Warren going in the top 20, that seems like it's consensus for all the mock drafters right now. And I think everybody views them as those type of tight ends. So I think that we're going to get really good discounts on them because people don't like drafting tight ends. Like, people took Brock Bowers 108. Like, that was his consensus spot in rookie drafts, even in tight end premium. And he was the best tight end prospect we've ever seen. So I think we're going to get Warren and Loveland at the back end of the first in every single mock draft, like, literally, even if they get first round capital.
I'm up here at the 110, and I'm going to be honest. I picked this area because I wanted to take Jackson Dart because no, I know, but Jackson Dart going at 9 to the Saints is an instant, like, that's something that gets me super excited. But
you're making me happy.
110, like
wide receiver 1 on the Chargers right there.
And I think there's going to be scenarios where you get him at 112 because teams that need quarterback are going to take Shedeur Sanders. They're going to take Jackson Dart. Does Jackson Dart at 112 this year, is he Bo Nix of 2025?
He could be. I think that's a good comp for him in general, but he doesn't have the experience and like the veteranship that Bo Nix had.
This because Bo Nix is like 32 years old as a rookie.
But like Dart could get there. Dart, they play similar, they win similar, they throw the ball similar. I think that's a pretty good comp for them.
But Chandler Hughes from the Discord just says,
on a Mecca going to the Chargers. He's literally Keenan Allen.
He said, "Dad, this draft is juicy as hell," and I think it really could be. And I think this is something where you talked about it with Ladd McConkey being the clear number 1 with the Chargers. You bring in Ibuka, and I put a thing out because I've seen Ibuka and Tet rumored to the Chargers. Justin
They're
Herbert's
going for a
stock is about
guy.
to go up.
Oh,
They're going to
yeah.
get another guy there. They're going to have 2 legitimate wide receivers.
MVP type
where
year.
with Justin Herbert, I think you're looking at a really
Their
good
O-line
landing
is
spot.
nasty too.
Yeah.
I don't even.
Yep.
I'm trying to think who they just brought in. They just brought in like a stud, I think, guard, and it was like, wow, they're just. I think, and it's not even a knock on Lad McConkey, but I just think they want to bring in another wide receiver weapon, just because maybe it's a little bit with Lad's medicals, but just because like to be one of the best teams in the NFL, like you need to have that. Unless you're Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes and you have that type of offense, or you have a Josh Allen, you need firepower on offense, and like you need 2-3 capable pass catchers. I think Ibuka would instantly come in, be Justin Herbert's Keenan Allen. Lad would be used more in that field stretching role, but still, they're Emeka and Lad can play any position on the field. They're super versatile. They play very similar. They win very similar. I think that'd be a really fun combo. It kind of reminds me of Cup and JSN, like in Seattle. Like I feel like that's the type of vibe I get from that.
Yeah, I was gonna say Cup in
up
there too. You got Golden going here at 111 to the Giants in that early second round. I like that. Colston Loveland to the Colts. Now this is what we got to talk about, Snoog, is if we're talking, I know you don't like him. I know you don't.
Yeah.
But Shedeur Sanders
this
falls
is crazy
to
good value. Yeah.
You have to take him. Like there's no debate. Like now we're talking Shedeur Sanders he falls all the way to 201. You got to smash that. I think I was really close to taking him at 110 because I think Shedeur Sanders to the Giants is a best case scenario. You know, I think he would definitely go there. K Money says
a lot like last year.
He said, "You guys ever do startup mocks? We will be right now. It's rookie fever. We're trying to cash in on that. We will be doing startup mocks, but the only place to get in on these is in the Smash Accept Discord. You know, Scarface sets these up every single time. He actually gave his spot away to our guy Michael Kensel. Shout out to him. He did the super chats. Now we get Jackson Dart at 202.
Tell me this doesn't remind you of last year. This class isn't close. Like last year's class is historical. Like that. I think the depth of this class is better than last year. I think like last year, once you got past like Penix and Bo Nix in the second round, it sucked. Like Pearsall and then everyone else sucked.
Well, this is the difference.
This class, I think the second round is actually going to be good. But last year, you were getting first round draft picks in the second round of rookie drafts. And I feel like right now we're getting that type of vibe. If something like this happened, obviously.
Jackson Dart to the Saints is a really nice spot. You know, like, do you like if Dart goes 9 and Shedeur goes 3 to the Giants? Do you prefer Sanders or Dart? I think it gets really close.
I honestly think Dart has a higher fantasy ceiling than Sanders does. With the rushing,
my man's got tons of rushing upside.
Wheels.
You know, he makes some bad choices. You know, I think Shedeur Sanders makes better choices when he's in there. The next pick here, and this is we're rattling things off here. Luther Burden to the Chiefs is really interesting. You know, because that would give you Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, Luther Burden, and Hollywood Brown at Mahomes' disposal. I think
they made
this
my
is
pick
someone
really here.
Oh yeah, I mean we got this 2-4. We're going Trey Harris. I like this.
Yeah.
Now in Marco's mock draft here, you're looking at Trey Harris and Jackson Dart. Both go to the Saints.
That's just that's all day long. That chemistry we saw what they did together at Ole Miss. Trey Harris already my wide receiver 6 in this class. Right after the big 5 that just went on this board. He has the upside to be a top 4 wide receiver in this class. I mean, we saw what he did before the injury. Pro ready. He can win at all 3 levels. He doesn't lose a jump ball. He can win in every single contested catch situation there is. He'd be a great complementary piece to Chris Olave, and with Jackson Dart there, you're not going to get a top 5, top 10 dynasty wide receiver here, but I could see him being like a Cortland Sutton, like a top 25, top 30 dynasty wide receiver. I'm fine getting that at the 204 because I think right after Burden, there's a big tier break here, and it starts the next tier. There's no other running back that went round 2 that was left on this board for me to want to take him. If there was, I probably would have considered it. But with the choices, the draft capital, the projections, the landing spots we got, I think Trey Harris here is the best option. Talk a little bit about Luther Burden here going to the Chiefs because I hate that landing spot and I hate that situation because they literally have Worthy and Rice. So it's like, what is the point of that?
Rice is already in that position. I don't like it at all.
Yeah.
I really prefer a lot of players here in this area. I was going to talk a pick that I really liked earlier on. We didn't talk enough about is Caleb Johnson to the Broncos. Like Caleb Johnson to the Broncos, really, we
It's
skipped
that
over
zone
that one.
run scheme that
But
we've been talking
dude,
about too.
that's what we've been wanting. Like he literally belongs at that 1-6 level. Another spot, Harold Fannin Jr. in this particular mock goes 55 to the Chargers. That offense with the Chargers, they added Mika Buka and Harold Fannin Jr. And you could tell Marco's really involved in the fantasy community because this
Justin
is almost
Herbert.
like dream spots, but holy hell.
They're
Like
dream
you get Fan
spots,
in
but I
there.
think he did a really good job at other than the Burden pick. I think all of these like make sense. I'm not saying necessarily like the draft capital makes sense on some of these guys, but like say like some of these guys do go to like the Giants take gold and like Abuka goes to the Chargers or like Warren, like all these landing spots are picks that if they happen, I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. I'm not like, ugh, why would that? The only one is
The,
Burden. That's like
the
this
only
makes
thing I
0 sense.
did not like about this particular mock is Dylan Sampson, Cam Scatterbo,
Yeah, he faded
Devin
the RB
Neal.
to the big
They
five.
all went round 4. Like this mock was 3 rounds. I don't think there's a chance that
That's the
Sampson,
thing with running
Giddens,
backs,
and
though.
Scatterbo all go 4. Do you think
That's
that
what's
people look?
sketchy about running backs.
Do you think that teams are like, there's so many guys I could wait another round? Like if I don't get those big 5, I'm gonna wait a little bit.
Yeah,
I think
this year's like the Judkins Hamptons of the world are so much better than like Charbonnet, Kendre, and Achain and those guys were. But in like Tank Bigsby. But I remember with that class too, I thought we were gonna get 3, maybe 4 second round running backs. Like I thought all Kendre, Achain, Charbonnet, even Tank, one of those guys was gonna sneak in there in that second round range. It went Charbonnet. Not a single running back went until the 3rd round. It gets sketchy and weird with running backs like that. I don't think it's going to happen with this one at all. But
big question here from Ambiguity. You guys doing super chats? Yes. If we get 5 super chats in this particular one, we will give away a rookie guide and we will do another 15-minute Q&A. When it's all said and done, we will do 15 minutes just to answer all of your trade questions, all of your draft questions. So if you guys jump in there, and we set it at any level. So you can do $199 and up, whatever you guys feel like. You guys can definitely put that in there.
Well, RB run going right now.
Couple of nice picks here. I think Ollie Gordon goes to the Rams in this particular mock draft. Do you like that? He goes pick 100, so he's still in the 3rd round. I kind of hate it because Blake Corum's there. It just, who do you like better, Ollie Gordon or Blake Corum?
Ollie. I'd take Ollie over
Okay.
Corum.
All right. You go from
As
your RB1 last year to,
yeah.
Devin Neal at 2.7, I think, is a good pick here. Scatterbo is still falling, and that's where it's going to be a little bit wild.
Scatterbo is one of those guys. As long as he goes top 4 rounds, I'm taking him. Not as early as I would have if he goes day 2, but if he goes round 4, right, he would have been off the board for me probably at 205, 206.
Listen to the wide receivers go off in round 2, though. I mean, you have Golden at 34, Harris at 40 to the Saints, Restrepo to Green Bay at 54, Io Menord to the Bills at 56.
I like that
Jaden Higgins
pick.
I do too. Jaden Higgins to the Ravens. Please don't do that to Jaden Higgins. Like we don't want that. Round 3, Jalen Royals to the Browns, Jack Beck to the Raiders, Jalen Noel to the Patriots. Man, I wanted to see Noel go in the 2nd round. I don't want to see him go in the 3rd round. 3rd round for him feels like a death sentence to me. Got Torrey Horton to the Packers, Ty Felton to the Rams. There's going to be a lot of opportunities here to kind of get your guy. And I think the running backs here this is still the area where you want to just be smashing those running backs.
Yeah, for the most part, 3rd, 4th round wideouts, rookie wideouts are usually just going to be role players or less. But if you want to pick out the diamond in the rough with this range and that like round 3 to 4 range, go for the predictive metrics. Look for the guys that just produced at college, yards per run numbers, all that good stuff. Look for the landing spots, like Jalen Noel to the Pats. He's getting on the field right away. Jack Beck to the Raiders.
We said that about Baker last year too. Yeah.
Jack Beck to the Raiders, though, he's getting on. The only issue with Javon Baker is he's just like a thug. Like he's just doing stupid stuff off the field. And I don't know, there was stuff with him like flashing guns or whatever and doing all that type of weird stuff that held him in just his immaturity. Apparently, I don't really know, but the talent, like he should have gotten on the field, but he couldn't because of the stupid stuff that he was doing. But like Jack Beck to the Raiders here, round 3, I feel like that's just a given to get playing time right away too.
Yeah, we got Jaden Higgins goes 59th here. We're taking him at 203, 208. I don't want to see him go to the Ravens. I really don't. I want to. If Jaden Higgins goes to the Bills at this range, because I mean they took Io Manor. If they took Jaden Higgins, all right, I'm in. You know what I mean? Like, then he's a late second. The Ravens, I think he's more of a 3rd round pick if that actually happens. And I'm not for it.
Yeah, I'm not touching him if he goes there. Like, I would take, I mean, just Restrepo straight up over him at that point, just with his landing spot, and they got similar draft capital. We got Bond. He went to the Jets.
The Jets at 42. So we don't like Isaiah Bond personally.
No, he's not good.
What are you thinking here? Would you take this pick?
No, I wouldn't. I think he's a 3rd round rookie pick if he goes in the 2nd round. He went early 2nd round, but like he couldn't produce at Bama. He couldn't produce at Texas. What's the excuse? Like, he's just one of those guys that could never produce. Like, why do I want him in the NFL?
Snoog, I would take Cam Scatterbo here. Not even a question.
Oh yeah.
But I want to talk about this here. I'm taking RJ Harvey at 210 because he goes to the 49ers in this situation. Jordan Mason gone. RJ Harvey is better than Isaac Guerrero. We are looking at whoever lands
primary
in that
handcuff
San
to a guy with
whoever lands in
Achilles
San Francisco.
Injuries.
Exactly. I love the opportunity to go out there and get RJ Harvey at the late
Dynasty
second.
Dad special right there. Snag him, hold him. CMC goes down, you flip him for a first.
You're gonna get a first. You could get a second for Guerrero, and Guerrero was going in the 4th, and the only thing he ever did was just run a 40. Like, RJ Harvey is faster. He's more athletic. He has a better production profile. Isaac Guerrero is a major sell, but whoever the Niners take, if they take a guy,
they're taking someone 100%.
And that's why they traded Jordan Mason.
They're the type of weirdos that would literally take someone round 2. Like, they're like that. They don't like. They just paid CMC out the wazoo. I could see them taking Judkins or taking Henderson or taking a Hampton if they're there, just because they do that type of stuff. Like, they've taken so many running backs in round 3 for the past. Like, who was the guy? Trey Sermon. There was another one before him. Tyrion Davis Price. Remember him? They took him in like the early 3rd round. They never played him. Yeah. They never played him. They took him early 3rd round over pretty sure they took him over like Achane and Kendre, and they just never played him. It was like, what? They just do that stuff.
This is a really nice pick here. I look at Addison picks Elic Iomanor.
That's a great pick.
At 56. Is he the same kind of player as Khalil Shakir, though? Like, both of them, I think, are going to win in the slot. He's not a big outside guy. You know what I mean?
He's a power slot, though. He's big. He's like 6'2", 200.
200.
He played the outside in college full time.
I know.
He doesn't project to be like that.
He gets open regularly. I like him a lot. But
you could see him being like a Juju or like a Godwin, like a power slot, and Shakir plays a little bit more of like the Y or the Z.
Now, Snoog, could you imagine a week ago if you said Cam Scatterbo is going to go at 212?
I'd be trading up for everyone that's watching. I would be trading up right now for Cam Scatterbo.
Michael Kensel, the super chat machine. I'm so glad that he won, our giveaway last week for the free premium month of the Discord. He said, "What do you guys think of my Quinshon Judkins and Devin Neal start?" That's one of the best drafts so far. I mean, your team looks fantastic there, Michael. If we get 4 more, we will give away a rookie guide to $40 value, and we'll stay on for an extra 15 minutes to answer any draft question where you say, "Hey, I got the 103 and I need a quarterback. What should I do?" Or "I got the 102. Who's my pick here?" And go that way. Elijah Arroyo at 212 is an interesting pick here.
There you
Elijah Arroyo, I think, is one of the top 4 or 5 tight ends in this class, but his landing spot here is juicy. He ends up going to Cincinnati. That's what we want. We just want a guy there. How wild is it? We get Arroyo in Cincinnati with Burrow, and now Cam Scatterbo falls to the 3rd. These early 3rds, and I don't think that's going to happen in your actual draft. But you look at what's happening here. Those late 2nd, early 3rds are starting to get juicier and juicier.
Yeah, they are.
Andres, that's a great pick there. You taking Arroyo. What's our next pick there? Restrepo? I'm
Strepo, he
blind.
went round 2 to the Packers. He's the guy
I
that can
don't
actually catch the damn ball, and he's
I don't
probably going
like
to get on the field. It's going to be a rotation, but like if he
just
can
stop.
cement himself in a consistent pass
Yeah.
catching role, the Packers are leaving the
Get him.
draft with They're leaving the draft with Matthew Golden, Emeka Egbuka, or Luther Burden. They're
They
not
need
going
one.
in. They're
Just
not taking someone. They were so
if
heavy involved with like DK and Adams and those guys. They're leaving the draft with one of those guys.
I just
I
don't.
bet you one of them. I bet you one of the Chargers, Texans, and Packers, one of those 3 teams is going to trade up into the teens, like the late teens, jump in front of the other ones, and then take like a Mecca. I don't think a Mecca makes it to the 20s, especially
Some of
after
the
the pro
guys,
day he's going to have.
some of the guys in the Discord have some questions. Duke Derp, he said, guys, can you talk the difference right now where you would take the tight ends if there was no tight end premium? So we're taking Warren at 1.9 and we're taking Loveland at 2.0 or at 1.12. I think Warren belongs in 1.8, 1.6 to 1.9 no matter what. Loveland,
Yeah.
I would take after the quarterbacks here. If there was no tight end premium, I would definitely take Dart and Shador Sanders over him at that spot.
Yeah.
We talked. Rex Butt said Travis Hunter is the clear-cut wide receiver 1 if he gets drafted there. And we've already kind of covered that a little bit. If the Browns
agree, but if Tech goes to the Panthers, there is argument. Like that's a really good landing spot too. But in a nutshell, yeah, they're going to be like a 1A, 1B. Hunter, you got to give the flowers to Hunter. Like,
yeah. Sean Owen says with Ward, Sanders, and Dart projected top 10, they all have to be considered first-round Superflex picks, right? No way they can slide. What's your take on that? I think all 3 of them do, and this is why early seconds are so important. If you take those and they go up there and people are quarterback needy, you're getting Ibuka, Golden, Loveland, and some of these running backs. Honestly, I could see this is like last year at that late first, early second. You're going to see some of them. Caleb Johnson's going to fall to 201. Sometimes Ibuka's going to fall to 201. 201 is when you rebuild, you get the 101, you get the 201. It's like an extra first round pick, especially in this particular class.
Yep, I agree with that.
I missed the pick there. What do we get?
We had Jalen Noel go to the
and
Pats.
DJ Giddens at 3-4.
Yeah, I took him there. He didn't even go, but
I want him.
He went in round 4 in my imagination, so I took him.
I like DJ Giddens more than RJ Harvey, but if these running backs go in round 4, it's not a big deal. Then it's like if Scatabo and Giddens go in round 4, but they go to ideal landing spots.
Yeah.
My round 3, 4, I don't care.
The way
my
I
round
look
1
at
and 2, I look
Yeah.
at running backs totally different.
Exactly. I was just going to say that. The way I look at it, if you're drafted in round 1, you're the starter immediately. You're drafted to be a workhorse. You're drafted to be that guy. You're an elite talent type player. If you're drafted in round 2, you're probably a really, really high-end running back prospect, or you slipped further than the team thought you would, and they're drafting you to be a 1A or a primary workhorse type player or some type of starter eventually. Or like they have like a James Conner that's on his way out or an Aaron Jones on his way out, and they just a Quinshon Judkins falls and they're like, I'm going to get our future workhorse right now. If you're drafted in round 3, you're either a stud that should have went in round 2 that fell, that they're taking you, or you're being drafted as like a primary handcuff, like we saw with Corum, Benson, and those type of guys that could eventually be starters, or they're just depth pieces. Because you'd be surprised how many round 3 running backs don't pan out. Like it's not a great hit rate range. Yeah, it's really not. So, it's round 1 and 2 or it's kind of sketchy. But
since 2018, I think I brought this up before, but 98 running backs have been drafted. Only 26% of them have posted a top 30 season. However, rounds 1 and 2, there's been 26 guys drafted. 19 of them have finished in that RB1, RB2 range. That's at 76%.
Even like Charbonnet.
And this class has that.
Even like Charbonnet for most recent memory of like a flopping round 2, other than Brooks that just didn't play a single game. But
and that's not on him.
Charbonnet was just
been fine.
I don't know what the Seahawks are doing with Charbonnet, but like even when Charbonnet played as the starter, he paid off, right? Like he would have been like a top 15 guy. So it's like it's pretty. If I think I'm very confident if Henderson, Hampton, Judkins, and Caleb Johnson all go in round 2 or better, they're all going to be at least top 12 finishers at one point in time.
Yeah,
like I think we can comfortably say that with confidence.
the running backs still on the board. Dylan Sampson, Damian Martinez,
So I took
Rashard
Giddens.
Smith. Like
Yeah.
this running back, even Jack Beck, I think is a great pick here.
Bajual Tootin still on the
Tootin's
clock.
still there. Who do we got here? Jalen Milroe. All right. He ran that 4.37 today, Snoog. You knew I was going to talk about it. We get some speed here. If he goes to the Colts, right? And that's the landing spot here is Jalen Milroe to the Colts. They're like, okay, we took a much more elite version of Jalen Milroe in Anthony Richardson. Now we're going to just try it again. Like that
Playing
feels like
both at play the Wildcat with both of them. Like have Milroe in the backfield and have Richardson at QB. That'd be funny.
This is just I do think
if he
what's up, Sleazeball?
If Milroe starts, he's gonna put up fantasy points. I don't care if he's horrible at throwing the football. He could run around like a turkey with his head cut off and still score rushing touchdowns.
He's gonna get drafted in the second or third round, and
I think so.
He's gonna fall.
People see Bama, people see that athleticism. They're just gonna be like, if a team like the Saints or one of those desperate teams don't get a quarterback and he's sitting there in the late second or third round range, they're gonna take him. They're just gonna take him, play him, and see what happens.
This mock, they have Will Howard going to the Seahawks. I mean, do you want the floor of Will Howard? Will Howard's ceiling is Jalen Milroe's floor for fantasy. We said it before when Anthony Richardson ran last year. You look at it, he was 8 fantasy points per game just running the football. So. Rosa
I still believe in A-Rich. I still think A-Rich can figure it out.
Jones, we know Stux Milroe could get his shot after 1 year of sitting, and it could happen. Dylan Sampson here at 3.6. I know he's fallen off draft boards for a lot of people, but 3.6 Snoog, a little 3.6 Mafia. I got to take him here at this. That's crazy.
Yeah, this is insane range right now because I know we think we all have it figured out right now, but I promise you none of us know anything after usually the first 13, 14 guys are pretty predictable. Usually one or two of them will end up disappointing and falling, but
Dylan Gabriel. There we go. That's an interesting one. I think he's going to go Jalen Royals to the Browns, goes to Miju here. Miju's awesome. He's in a couple of he's in one of the Smash Accept leagues. He gets Jaden Higgins at 2.8 and then Jalen Royals at 3.8. Snoog, you've been high on Royals. Is this a good landing spot with the Browns? I mean,
I don't mind it.
It's an open room.
I debated taking him there at the 304, but to me, I said to myself, avoid third round wide receivers. Stay true to the strength of the class. It's running backs. DJ Giddens blew up the combine, has great production profile. NFL scouts love him. All the mock draft guys are gassing him up. I liked his tape a lot. I saw a lot of raw in his game, but I did see a lot of upside and potential if he goes and sits for a little bit and then plays, kind of like we saw with a Trey Benson. But Jalen Royals gets drafted, gets to play alongside Jerry Jeudy and Cedric Tillman with Cam Ward there, who's drafted in the second overall pick. Good
Jack Beck.
Jack Beck and Royals right here. 2 great values in the back end of the third. And
what about my pick though?
I love Damian Martinez.
I almost took Mason Taylor. Mason Taylor goes to the Saints.
Go day 2. He should go day 2.
That's a good pick.
If he goes day 2, I'm going to be so unbelievably high on him. The only reason I'm not so high on him as I have him at, I think 10 right now or 9. He could easily be 7 for me if he goes day 2. That's how much I like him.
I think he's going to go round 4. I think he's going to go round 4. But I mean, round 4 to the right team that needs a running back.
They just don't take players like that high. A Harvey, a Rashard Smith.
Rashard Smith hasn't even gone in this.
Those type of guys, Giddens, those type of guys can go in that round 2 range because they're so fast, athletic.
Tootin's I feel like we just I think we skipped over him because
Rosa, take Tootin.
Rosa, you got to do it for us, or else it's going to look bad. I think what ended up happening a lot of times in your sleeper drafts is, Ty Felton there goes way down 311, yeah. But yeah, he's way down there. Tootin's just ridiculously below. He's below Jackson Blue and Horton, Leonard, James. That's not going to be a thing. Rosa's going to do the right thing. He's going to pound some Tootin here. Snoog, this is a fun draft. I mean, this is. You're looking at what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 running backs in round 1. Thank you for doing that. 5 running backs in round 1, 2 tight ends, 4 wide receivers.
Yep.
one quarterback. I would love to see this in my league. Two quarterbacks in round 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wide receivers, 3 running backs. This is a nice, colorful draft.
Yep.
This is a fun one.
I was just gonna say to
Jonathan
you,
Farrell says we
Mhm.
really got burdened down at 203. This is just used to be the headliner of the class. That's crazy.
legit
And
though.
you're right. And I think what we're trying to say here is we do these mocks every single Wednesday. Make sure you hit that subscribe button for Smash Accept. We do trades every Tuesday at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. We
Yep.
do mock drafts every Wednesday because we want you guys to sharpen your trade, sharpen
Yep.
your craft. Understand that if Luther Burden goes to the Chiefs, I'm going to take him here. If Quinshon Judkins goes to the Chiefs, if
Yep.
these guys go into certain areas, we're going to know exactly where to get them, and you guys are going to be much more prepared. Snoog and I have everything laid out in the Discord. We have mock drafts, we have rankings, we have a draft guide, we have the most active Discord you're ever going to be in as far as fantasy football goes. So make sure you guys check that out. This was a fun one, Snoog. Biggest steal of each round, real quick.
Yeah, I would
it's
say.
crazy.
Yeah, I would say in round 1, Emeka Egbuka at the 110. Your
I got
pick.
that one.
I think that's phenomenal. Round 2 for me, I gotta go with Jackson Dart. Getting a quarterback that goes 9th overall at the 202 spot just feels like stealing money from a baby, stealing candy from a baby.
Yeah,
And then in the
money.
third,
Kids don't like babies. Don't
in the
like money.
third,
They don't need
in the
it.
third round, I'm gonna go with Damian Martinez 310. I love that pick again by you. I think that's just great. I'm not going to say Tootin because I don't think he's going to fall that far. But I think Martinez in that range is realistic. And I think that's going to be a really, really big steal. But one thing before I kick it over to you that I really want to highlight, everybody listening, they're mock drafts for a reason. It's not what's actually happening, right? It's just giving you scenarios in different ways so you can kind of see how the board falls because what we think is going to happen isn't going to happen. So like, that's how you gotta look at it. Like you can project and expect, like obviously Hampton and Henderson and these guys are gonna go in the top 6. But once you get to that like back end of the mid first, late first through the early second, and then all the way through the second, I don't care if DJ Giddens goes round 4 and Jadon Blue goes around 2. People are gonna take Jadon Blue over him. It's that it's gonna be draft capital, especially for running backs. Things are going to get crazy. So just expect that. Don't get your heart set on anybody. Don't think you're going into it with knowing exactly what you want to do because everything is going to change on you. And then you're going to be like, I don't know what to do now.
And so many of you guys, you're in the Discord. You're starting to get those fantasy juices flowing. You're really wanting to kind of get those drafts going. This is the best place to be because dudes are in there talking 24/7. I told you I went on a date tonight, and I was like, Mandy, I'm gonna check my phone here real quick. 72 DMs while it was on my date. Let me have a life. No, I'm just kidding. I love you guys. It's been an awesome experience. We love all the interactions there. So thanks again for tuning in, guys, and enjoy the process. 72, man.